come on and
Hi everybody, I'm going to answer the question right now, how I went about getting a publisher. I'm sorry to give you this like big generic answer, but it's the same response for everybody, and I get asked it quite a bit, so I wanted to do it this way. And if you have specifics about your book, of course you can email or call me. Most likely you know me if you're watching this. Okay, in either case, I'll tell you about my own personal story, but first I will tell you my general advice for getting published. Get an agent. Get a literary agent. There are probably tons in your city, maybe 15 or so that are good ones. And the way you go about getting a literary agent is by creating a great proposal. And now, a proposal is something that basically outlines your book and details chapter by chapter what you're planning on doing, what your market is, who your competing books are. I will actually put a link to my proposal so you guys can view it, or type in book proposals on Google to see some examples of some. That is the key thing, I think, to getting people to learn about your book, because they're not going to read the entire manuscript, right? And an agent, what they do is that they have relationships with publishers, one. Number two, they also know which publishers are going to be best suited for your book. And to be honest with you, it's a lot of rejection, the publishing venture, and it's hard to keep working yourself because you have other things to do and you're rejected nonstop, you're not used to it. An agent understands the field, they understand the rejection, and they're going to keep working while you do other things. And it does, it's 15% or 20% once you do get a deal, but I got an agent and it was 100% worth it for me. So the two things you should do, I think, are number one, get a proposal written. Even if you don't want to go the agent route, get a proposal written. If you don't want to go the agent route, get a proposal written and then go to the library and look at books that are similar to your books and read who published them. Then contact those publishers. That way you know that they have a reputation or a history of publishing books that are similar to yours, which in turn will increase your likelihood of getting a deal with that certain publishing house. My personal story. Okay, so I began my book when I was 19, and even though I knew very little about the publishing world, I knew I had a great idea in my hands, and I thought I'd get published right away. I did not, but little did I know, the steps that I was taking was actually the perfect steps to actually, 4 years later, getting a deal. So what I did is, the very first thing is I went on Much Music and I wore a t-shirt with my website that was promoting my book idea, which was SaveYourCherry.com at the time. I went on Much Music for like some kind of random contest. I applied for that, but I knew my goal in mind was getting people to go to the website. From there, I just got a bit of media coverage, and a lot of people came to the site, which I started to build a fan base around it. After that, I got an interview with the Toronto Star, and I went back on Much Music to talk about sex on their Much Talks Teen Sex panel. And I just took the attention I got, because my book is about sex, and created a larger market. So by the time my book was finished, I had already made a small fan base, and so then I started to look for book publishers on my own. Tons of rejection, left, right, and center. I used a service called Book Blast, which blasts your query letter, and a query letter is a short form of a publisher, of a proposal. It's basically a letter that just says what your book is about, the key points that you want to add in there. It's a cover letter for your book, right? I used that service, got no luck with that. I got lots of responses back, but people never bit on the idea itself. I started workshopping my book around, again, going to like women's college bookstore, learning about the process, and again, it didn't really help me much. And it wasn't until I met Josie Vogels, who is another sexual education author in Toronto, who said to me, get an agent. She tried to get me her agent denied me. And so I then researched Toronto agents, found about 10 or so that I liked, sent them all my proposal, and I only got one call back, which ended up being my current agent, Arnold Goswitch, and he did a great job. And after 2 years, I got my book deal. During those 2 years, we went on several meetings, had several promising ones, but it wasn't until the second year that I finally did get a deal with an American publishing house with a mandate that actually really fits what I hope to do in the future. It's groundbreaking books for women, by women. So I would say the key to getting published is having patience, knowing how to build a market for yourself, because I truly believe what sold my book was the fact that I already had a history of being a sexual educator. So even though I wasn't an expert in my field, I still was an active member of that field and in the public eye. I had websites, so people, there was already a readership there for my work, and I think I had a great agent who knew exactly where to put me. So those are the things that were working in my favor. If you, for example, are a professional or a teacher, there's a very different route for you to go, because you can go to scholastic publishing houses that publish scholars books, and that's much simpler for you. Still difficult, I'm sure, but that may not require as much personal promoting as my route went. So there you have it. This is how I'm now published, and now that I am published, I have a whole new task, which is getting people to buy the book, which I'm sure will be 10 times more difficult, but twice as exciting. So good luck to all of you guys. Email me, sb@shannonteresa.com, if you have any questions, or if you want to talk about your book specifically, and I'll see how I can help you.